I've been hearing about this game for ages. I mean, on and off, not constantly. It's one of these games that everybody talks about at some point because it has this, like, mythical status, because it did something different, or it stands out, or both, or whatever. But in the past, it's always been an Xbox exclusive. Boo! I hate exclusives, for the record. Serves the player, my British backside it does. You just want it for yourself. You want to hog it. You make sure that no one else has it. No. Well, it's finally released across more than one platform. We can all play it. I never understood those. It's like when Horizon Zero Dawn went multi-platform. A lot of PlayStation owners went, "How dare you! No! Ah!" What for? So more people will be able to play it. It doesn't stop you from playing it. You've still got a PlayStation. Get over it. Anyway, I digress. This is Alan Wake Remastered.
Stephen King once wrote that nightmares exist outside of logic, and there's little fun to be had in explanations. They're antithetical to the poetry of fear. In a horror story, the victim keeps asking why, but there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest, and it's what we'll remember in the end. My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer. I've always had a vivid imagination, but this dream unsettled me. It was wild and dark and weird, even by my standards.
Right from the start, it sounds like the guy doing the voice acting for Alan Wake is a bit of an amateur. But obviously, Alan Wake is more comfortable writing than he is speaking. It's deliberate, and I like it. His story doesn't start that promising. He kills someone. And then that someone disappears. And that sets the tone. Like Wake himself said in the opening, don't go expecting an explanation. The game's first area serves as a tutorial, as you might expect. You have a dodge, use it often, or die. Enemies are shielded by darkness. Woo! Use the torch to burn the darkness away. Then you can shoot them. Wake finally reaches the lighthouse, only to discover...
He's here. Alan, wake up. Shh, baby. Just another nightmare.
That it was all a dream. Is anybody really surprised by this? The story proper takes place in the peaceful, sleepy town of Bright Falls. Alan and Alice are here on vacation because Alan, despite being a very successful writer, hasn't been able to write a single word in the last 2 years. The diner is their first port of call.
Welcome to the Oh Dear Diner.
Hi, I was wondering if you could help me. I'm looking for...
Mr. Wake. Alan Wake. Oh, God. I am your biggest fan. I know people say that all the time, but I really am.
I'm glad to hear that.
I can only imagine how annoying this is for actual celebrities. I mean, think about it. You go on holiday to the arse crack of nowhere, and somehow, inexplicably, your biggest fan is there, waiting for you. At the airport! There are quite a number of characters to this story, and you won't appreciate how important some of them are until later.
Number 6 in the jukebox. I'd do it myself, but both of my legs have gone to sleep. Bad circulation. Yeah!
Are you serious? Coconut again? You disgust me. Call yourself a rocker. Unbelievable. Ha!
You put the lime in the coconut. Drink them both up.
Now, there are some copyrighted music items in this game, which makes it a bitch to review or stream. Indeed, there used to be lots of product placement, like Energizer batteries, for example, but all the written adverts have been altered for the remastered edition. Doesn't stop you getting caught by the sound, though.
Coconut! Now that's what I'm talking about, yes!
This is it. I've died and gone to hell.
Mr. Stuckey?
Carl couldn't make it. Unfortunately, he was taken ill. But I have the key for you and instructions on how to get to the lake.
Okay.
I wish you a good stay in my cabin. I'll come by later to check how you've settled in. And to meet your wife. I insist.
Thanks.
Because this woman looks 100% trustworthy. Has this guy not read his own books? They arrive at the cabin on the island. Get the power back on.
Wake up.
Alice?
And 1 week later, he's crashed. Did I mention thin on explanation? Get used to it. The chapters are, broadly speaking, split into 2 sections, day and night. The day sections are story and character driven. The night sections are mainly combat driven, with some story and character thrown in for good measure. The game oozes atmosphere, regardless of the lighting. In the day, there's an eerie stillness to the place. At night, the shadows dance through the trees. Literally. It's very impressive and pretty unnerving. Also unnerving.
The loose sheets of paper were pages from a manuscript entitled Departure. That was the name I planned to use for the next novel I had never gotten started. I was named the author. I hadn't written it. I couldn't remember writing it. In the scene on the page, the hero was attacked by an axe murderer in the woods at night.
These pages are scattered all over the place. Sometimes they detail things that have happened to Alan so far. Sometimes they predict future events. Sometimes they detail events he's never even present for. It's actually kind of spooky when that happens. You'll be reading a page of something that's happened to somebody else somewhere else, and you'll get to the bottom of the page and you'll think, what happened next? What happens to Wake next is...
incontestably
Yes!
proven.
Great Falls Sheriff Station. How may I...
Hello?
See the sights and keep those cholesterol.
This is bad.
It gets pretty tense at times. Some kindly soul has hidden supply caches all over Bright Falls, marking them with paint that only shows up in the light. curiously, all these supply caches have in them exactly what you would need to fight off a small army of darkness-infused zombies. Oh, and the Night Springs episodes.
Science. It bestows immortality on those who advance it to elevate all of mankind. Newton, Einstein, Sagan, princes among men. But the price for such a legacy is steep indeed. In Night Springs. Tonight's episode, a quantum suicide.
Obviously, it's an homage/rip-off of The Twilight Zone, and deliberately so. They're optional as well, so you don't have to stand there like a lemon watching them in their entirety. But you're gonna, aren't you? In this first episode of 6, there isn't a huge amount of combat. The world's more interested in keeping you off balance, keeping you in a state of uncertainty. I like it.
Anybody there? Please, I've been in an accident.
Fights will break out though.
There were more of them. My head pounded with a concussion. I'd never fired a gun outside a shooting range, and now I just killed someone. Or something. There were no bodies. They just disappeared. If I was dreaming, it felt real enough to make me sick.
And Wake finally makes it to the gas station, calls the sheriff, tells them his wife is missing. They drive out to the lake. And the island's missing. Did I mention this game's not big on explaining shit? And that's episode 1, and sets the model for the remaining 5. You play through a day section, then a night section.
Thank you for testing the lights, Miss Weaver. Everything seems to be fine.
I don't have the luxury of being complacent, Deputy Grant. The bulbs will need changing soon. You can't change them in the dark.
I'll be sure to take care of it, Miss Weaver. Have a nice day now.
Very good. I'll come back later on to remind you, just in case.
Mr. Wake, the sheriff is waiting for you in her office down the corridor.
Combat does step up over time. It's just not a massive element to begin with, which helps you focus on the story and the characters. In terms of weapons, there's things like a pistol, a couple of types of shotgun, a rifle, flares, a flare gun. You can't carry much ammo, but there are stashes everywhere, even if they are in teeny tiny amounts. Literally everywhere. The people of Bright Falls regard bullets like used tissues. there is the rare QR codes, sometimes scattered around the place. And yes, they do actually work. There are radio broadcasts from the local radio station you can listen to.
As you regular listeners know, I tend to work through the night, but I'm not the only one. Deputies Mulligan and Thornton are taking a couple of moments off their busy schedule to join me here in the studio. Boys, how busy are you now?
Worth pointing out, this game is not big on putting things way off the trail in little secret hidey holes right in the corner. It doesn't do that. If there's a building over there in the distance, I can pretty much guarantee there's something there for you to find. If there's nothing except trees and rock walls, don't even bother checking that way because there is nothing. I like these open, free-roaming areas in the daytime. And no, it's not just because I like open-world games, I do, but these bits sort of remind me of Half-Life 2. You know what I mean? That kind of thing where you see a building over there, you don't have to go there, but you're gonna. You're gonna. I know I'm playing these out of order, but that's the second time I've had to kill a refrigerator in a Remedy game. What do you people have against refrigerators?
Previously on Alan Wake, Alice has been kidnapped.
Alan, please help me.
Alice?
You'll do exactly what I say if you ever want to see your wife again.
Yeah, it does that previously on thing. Not sure how to feel about that. TV programs can normally get away with it. Well, unless the TV program happens to be part of DC's Arrowverse. And then one show ends up spoiling the other show because crossovers. Bastards.
Most of us have felt the shadow, a shiver down your back.
What?
A glimpse from the corner of the eye. You can't find it on purpose.
Pardon?
Take a wrong turn, board the wrong bus, wonder where you are. When you
Speak up!
And you will find yourself in a small town.
I can't hear you!
Tonight's episode, The Dooms Merit.
Okay, two problems. First, the audio. 2 of the episodes occur near very loud sources of noise. I don't know about anyone else, but I can't hear a fucking thing. Second, because I couldn't hear them, I went to the menu to revisit the content you find in-game. Except the Night Springs episodes are the one thing it doesn't let you rewatch. Why? It lets you re-listen to the radio broadcasts.
I can set off more of the fireworks from here and help you out! Did you notice there's a lot of ammo and stuff around? This place is stocked!
And before you heard their music in Control, this was first. Also, you're going to have to go away and look it up yourself because copyright. There are many pages to find. Coffee thermoses to pick up. Several radio shows to listen to. And Night Springs episodes to watch. Chapter 5, and this is where the game gets bloody-minded. It starts to devolve into one fight, then an ambush, then a fight. And going into the last chapter, chapter 6, it's just unrelenting combat, because the story, or as much as it's going to give to you, has been delivered already. Now it's just one long run to the end of the game, and it is here where it loses, in my opinion, what made it special. I mean, sure, the final stretch doesn't diminish what came before, but it's not to the same quality. The spooky atmosphere? Gone. The story intrigue? Gone. The uncertainty about what lies ahead? Gone. Mainly because after 10 minutes you realise what lies ahead is another sodding fight. The game is at its best when it's messing with your head in some way, when you don't know what's round the next corner. It starts to lose a bit of that mystique by chapter 5, and by chapter 6, it's lost it entirely. I did really like this game. Even though I feel like it drops the ball towards the end, it's still very entertaining and totally worth the ride. And if you're a fan of this game, you're probably already aware that they are working on a sequel now. It's been a long time. And I dare say that there might be some people who are a bit worried about it being a sequel because, you know, the first is so special, how can it compete? This game was designed to be more of a shooty, actiony type game. Apparently the sequel is going to be more of a horror, which is fine by me.
They're really taking advantage of your presence here, Wake. I heard they're selling a lot of your Alex Casey books.
Right now, I'm not a big fan of my own writing.
So that's it for this review. What did you think of my video? Leave a like or dislike down below. What did you think of Alan Wake? Did you play it back in the day? Is it any different now? Is it better, worse? Is it how you remembered it, etc.? Leave a comment down below. That's what it's there for. And for those of you who are a glutton for punishment, you can always subscribe. Or if you want to inflict me on someone else, you can always share instead. See you next time.